Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends, as this video is brought to you by drroto.com.
Good evening, my friends. It is In the Cup, brought to you by drroto.com, your daily prescription of fantasy sports. I am Jonny Danger. With me, as always, Mr. Adam White. How are you, sir?
Almost always, except for when the other Mr. White fills in. How are we doing, Al?
Doing wonderful. Thanks for having me, guys. Glad to be back.
Of
Fantastic.
course, the other side, other Mr. White, Coach White, Al White, the picker of, let me tell you, 3 weeks in a row in his premium article at drroto.com. He highlights 5 players in his article every single week. The winner has been in that group of 5 3 consecutive weeks. Can it be number 4, Al?
I think we got our winner. And I actually made a bold prediction where I think I found the playoff winner. And he's
Playoff winner.
Playoff winner, yes.
Man, and you know what? You were on the show last time. We made a bold prediction that there was going to be a tin cup.
Yes,
we picked Finau, but we were so close. It was Siwoo Kim, and we actually mentioned him too when we were talking about it. We were so close. So we're pretty good with bold predictions around here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think Siwoo took like a 16 on that par 3. Shot
it was
like
bad.
4 or 5 water balls in a row.
Yeah.
That's impressive. And then he came back the next week and took second at the Wyndham. Like, good for you, man. Shake it off.
Yeah, shake it off. All right. Well, speaking of last week, you nailed Mr. Kevin Kisner. How did your lineups do in DFS, gentlemen?
Honestly, not great. I had Henley and Kisner and Kevin Na, and those 3 got me min cash because that was, well, if Henley would have just made it to the playoff, he ended up taking 7th, unfortunately, because there's a 6-man playoff. But outside of that, I had 1st, 2nd, and 7th, minimum cash, but it is what it is. I had Matthew Wolff in there, and my low-dollar player was Ryan Moore, and they both just missed the cut on the number. I thought Jim Herman might come back and repeat because you see a lot of repeat names at the Wyndham, but I chose wrong. I wanted to go with Hadwin at 6,900, but Herman kind of shot my lineups down quickly.
What about you, other Mr. White?
Yeah, I picked a bad week to play mainly cash because I don't know if you guys looked, but it was a nuts week in tournaments. Like there were 3 of 6 lineups cashing. I think it was less than 2%, got 6 of 6 through. It was just a crazy week. So, if I would have played normally like I do, heavy on tourneys, I could have done all right. But, made my money back, ready to move on to the Northern Trust this week at Liberty National.
Yeah, man. Well, let's get right into it. We have got the Northern Trust coming up. As you can see, gentlemen, I have taken the liberty to fly out here a couple days early to check out the field. And it's still kind of light over here, surprising, at 9:30 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, I'm hitting thunderstorms here. So like I said to you before we got on, if I cut out randomly, my power has gone out. I'm on the coast of North Carolina, and hurricanes are hitting us. So hopefully we can make it through this 30-minute short.
I like it. Hey, but I tell you what, we are in the cup. So, Adam, I see you got a little bottle poking out there. What's in the cup over there?
Got a little beer. My good friends, my neighbors at Wolverine Brewing Company. Got a little Gula Gula. Solid pale ale.
Love to see it. Al, you got anything to help you ride out the storm?
I do. It's Strange Beast Hard Kombucha. If you've never had it, highly recommend it. It's good for the gut health.
I love it. Myself, I am, again, rocking the bubbly. But you know what it lacks in alcohol, it makes up for in the nice crisp. Yeah, always a good sound.
Still a great sound. Al, I always like a drink you can drink and convince yourself it's somewhat healthy.
Exactly. Yes, you understand.
Fantastic.
Last time I was on the pod, it was LaCroix and vodka, and in my mind, seltzer water and vodka is pretty clean.
Yeah. I'm with you. All right, Adam, break it down. The Northern Trust, the PGA Tour. We are approaching or just started the FedEx playoffs?
FedEx Cup playoffs are starting. So we got the top 125 guys and the FedEx Cup points accumulated throughout the year. We are at Liberty National Golf Course in Jersey. You will be seeing a lot of the Statue of Liberty in the background. It's just over a 7,400-yard par 71. We've got 3 par 5s this week. And it really doesn't favor the Bombers all that much. So I'm excited to have a week where we've got a variety of different player types that we can look at. And I'm big on recent form, Al. I think just the confidence you gain from contending and having your game on point. from week to week is critical, and especially, I mean, this is the top field in the history of the world golf rankings. So we've got a heck of a stacked field. It's an exciting week. We'll get into the course a little bit and what type of players fit when we talk about our model. But I mean, really, you got a lot of guys that could be in contention here that have different styles. And keep in mind as you're looking at this tournament, it's top 65 in ties, but it's only 125 players. So you got a minimum of 52% of players making the cut, and that's if on the number only hits with one guy. So you're going to see a lot of players with 6 of 6 this week. So it's important to differentiate with ownership percentage and kind of get a good mix of players in your player pool.
And do not be afraid to leave salary on that squad.
Correct. I think especially weeks like this and no cut weeks, I don't know what your take is on that, Al, but I think it's good to leave up to $1,000, even 1,500. Like a couple of weeks ago, the optimal lineup I think was like 49K. It was like under 50K, and it was absolutely optimal. The nuts lineup. So you got to be a little creative and not be afraid to leave a little bit on the table for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we even saw that at the Wyndham. Roger Sloan, Siwoo Kim. I mean, the optimal was 48.7 or something. So I'm 100% on board, especially in a small field, leaving even 1,500. But that'd probably be my max. I get a little bit uncomfortable leaving that much on there. When there's that many good players out there, you're like, all right, do I go with this $6,000 guy or do I bump up to 8,100? I struggle with that.
It's tough, especially in a field like this where you've got some guys that are at the top of their games, best players in the world, also trying to trend towards a lot of them good play heading into the Ryder Cup next month. So less likely to leave like 1,500 to 2,000 on the table this week, but let's pop in and see what we like as far as the players this week.
Well, before we get there, we do build a model every week. I kind of did a hybrid since both of you are here. I kind of looked at what both of you were recommending and put a few things in there. My personal model focusing on approach and our favorite ARG. Now, Al was asking, why that was in your thing. You think people are going to miss these small, fast greens and have to be, picking up chip shots from the fringe. Is that what you're thinking, Adam?
I do, yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're hitting it great off the tee and your approach game is on point, you're not going to need the short game as much. But with what we've seen historically at this course, we weren't here last year for the PGA Tour. It was at TBC Boston, but it was in 2019 and a few years previously. So you kind of see that the players that are up towards the top of the leaderboard are all, towards the top 30 or so in strokes gained around the greens. So I do think it's important to, when you miss these greens, to be able to get up and down and keep those rounds going, keep the momentum rolling. So it is a stat that I liked. I told you I didn't put it as heavily as strokes gained off the tee or strokes gained approach, but I still think it's an important stat.
I like it. We're also looking at bogey avoidance. There's a lot of long par fours. So we've got that and the 200 plus yardage proximity because there is a lot of long par fours. So that's kind of where we're at. A couple other things sprinkled in there. I'll tell you, number one on the board again, which isn't always the case. Number one in salary, 11.5, Jonny Rahm, number one in our model, number one in our hearts.
Yeah, I mean, I love Jon Rahm this week. What's not to like? The last 3 times he's been out have been, I believe, all majors. Let's see, what was his last 3? Yeah, the U.S. Open, PGA, the Open. He's got an 8th place, a win, and a 3rd place in his last 3 events. I mean, there's no downside to his game. We used to say a couple of years ago, if he played DFS, it was his temper. I think he's just a happy guy at this point because why wouldn't you be when you're playing as well as you are? He's got a baby now. I mean, he's just got to go, man. He's got the swag. So Jon Rahm is definitely high in my rankings this week. I don't see anything wrong with him. At 11.5, yeah, it's a high price, but he's the type that, I mean, even if he gets you top 3, that's going to pay it off because he'll have enough birdies to pay that high price tag off this week.
Yeah. Let's look at the rest of the guys at that 10K besides Mr. Rahm. I think we can all agree he is a great play here. I don't have another one of these top 10 guys in my top 5 on the model. So where are you going besides Mr. Rahm, Adam?
Spieth. Jordan Spieth. I think he's determined to get a quote unquote big win. His one win was the week before a major in Texas at the Valero. And I think he's determined to break through and show that he belongs on the Ryder Cup team as well. I like Spieth at 10.8. If he you can basically count on if he is even top half of this field, strokes gained off the tee, is going to contend. The guy makes a ton of birdies. He can get hot and make birdies with the best of them. So if I'm looking at one other guy in this top range, and I'm forced to choose one, it's him. Rahm, I like Rahm a lot. It's hard not to, but the kind of build construction I'm going with, I didn't love a lot of guys down at the bottom end. So just from a roster construction standpoint, it took away taking two of these top level guys. But I love Spieth after Rahm.
All right, well, I'm going to pull a Matt Wolf on you from last week. He does not grade in my model, and you know I'm a slave to the model, my friend. So I am out on Jordan Spieth. He's 31st in the model. Al, what do you got here besides those guys in the top 10K and above range, or do you want to dip into the 9Ks?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, for me, it would be Spieth second. He is second overall in this field in birdie or better gained, and I mean, on a course, last time they played it, Reed won at 16 under. So they even said this year the rough really won't play like into a factor. So like Adam said, even if he has bad tee shots, he's good enough to ball strike it out of the rough. As long as he's on the greens, he's going to make putts. It's just who he is this year. He's brought it back. So I don't see anything wrong with that play. I just don't see the win equity. Valero made sense. He's from Texas. It just everything lined up for that week for him to win. I just don't see it this week at this course. If I'm going up top, it is Rahm for me.
All right, well then start us off in that 9K range. There is a decent group of players here that rank pretty high in my model. Justin Thomas starts off that 9K range at 9,800 and number 2 in the model. I think Adam's right. Just looking through my notes here, I'm not seeing a lot of deep value like we were finding last week, so it's going to be hard for me to start Rahm and Thomas. But I think I could build a pretty nifty lineup if I just avoid the 10K altogether. What are your thoughts here, Al?
Yeah, that's going to be, if I don't have a Rahm lineup, I'm hammering this 9K range and high 8K. My playoff winner is in this range. Would you like me to leak that player?
Hey, man, let's just knock it out of the park right now, get it out of the way, and then Adam can tell you why he hates it.
Okay. It's Hideki Matsuyama for me. I truly think that he strings together 3 tournaments. I don't think there's a course that he's not a good fit for. It comes down to the putter for him. Even last week when he missed the cut, he still gained almost 4 strokes in 2 rounds of golf, which means he would have gained 8 overall if he had all 4 rounds to contend with. But the thing always comes down to his putter. I just think his game is as good as it has ever been. And with the Masters win, I don't see a better ball striker outside of him and Colin Morikawa right now on the PGA Tour. So as long as he can keep it in the fairway and get on the green in 2, he's going to score on these bent grass greens. That's where he does his best putting anyway, is on bent grass. So Hideki's my man for the playoffs this year.
Adam, are you ingredients here, or do you like someone else at the top of this 9K range?
No, I actually read Al's what is it, on the green?
The green read, yep.
The green read, yeah. I read the green read earlier today and saw that Hideki call, and I can't argue with it. The same reasons why I loved him last week, despite the fact that he burned us with a miscut.
He did.
Is that the dude just strikes his irons as well as anybody in the world. It's basically him and Morikawa at this point now that Tiger's gone. Those are the best iron players in the game. So, I like the call. He's not on my list. I tried to be a little bit more selective this week. And try not to listen to Danger because he always talks me into the guys that he knows that I want to love.
Hey, man, Kirk did you well if you played him.
And I can tell you've had some sales experience because you convince me every damn week. Maybe it's just the eternal optimist in me, but
hey, man, Webb played well. Kirk played well. Man,
it's true.
My guys did all right. But we got to keep this moving. But anyways, we did mention, okay, he's calling Hideki in his article, all right? Yep. The Green Read, Mr. Al White, known as Coach White on the site. The rest of his stuff is in our premium PGA section over at drroto.com. Make sure you subscribe and check that out. We won't give you away the rest of those pieces by name. We may mention those players, but we ain't going to tell you who's in there. So let's keep going here. I don't know. So Thomas and Hideki and Berger and Cantlay all finish in the top 15 in my model. So this is kind of that range that I just like to start with. I think I'm going to skip Jon Rahm, and I think I'm going to build out of this 9K range. So let's move on to the 8K range and get a little deeper here. How about the aforementioned Webb Simpson? He played very well last week. He matches up extremely well on this golf course. Adam, what do you think about Webb Simpson and this 8K range?
I do like Webb this week a lot. And just
Dude, 8,900. That's a great.
Yeah, I
price
know.
for him.
It's even in a great field, it's just too cheap. But in the 9K, real quick, I just liked. I wanted to mention Hovland and Scheffler. I think those guys can just ball strike their way to contention with no issue. And then Berger, like, if you start your lineup with those three guys and then go to some value guys in the 7K range, you can build some fun lineups.
Yeah.
But I do like Webb a lot at the top of the 8K range. Do we think that the Harris English issue in the clutch a couple weeks ago was just because Bryson's like slow playing them and got that group on the clock? Al, did you watch that or see how that all transpired?
I did. I mean, Harris also has to be annoyed with all the people yelling at Brooks, like if you're playing in that group, like how annoying would that be? Even if there's, it's like the respect of the game is almost lost. And if you're just in that grouping, it's disgusting. So I could see that getting in his own head, even though the yells weren't at him personally. It happened to Henley too. It's like the exact same thing happened back-to-back weeks. Yeah. It's like they had it, and then they just let other people come into contention and slowly.
The funny thing was, you just said the people were yelling at Brooks, but they were yelling at Bryson.
At Bryson, I'm sorry. Yeah, yelling Brooksy. I apologize.
You're one of those guys too, yelling Brooksy. So, no, I do like Webb. I could see an argument for Harris English, but again, I'm trying to be a little more selective here. So the guys I narrowed it down to were Webb, and then I think at his price in this field, he's going to go overlooked, but Sam Burns, man, when he's hot, he stays hot, and I think at 8K, he provides a decent amount of maybe not win equity, but top 5 equity at 8K. I think he could easily just ball strike his way around this course and find himself in contention come Sunday. That's kind of what I narrowed it down to. So anybody else you like in here, Al?
I love me some Paul Casey. His ball striking again, incredible. He's having kind of an under the radar year. And also this course is correlated to Innsbruck, the Valspar, and he always just kills Valspar. So if he can bring that same narrative here, just get on the greens in 2, he'll put down some putts. I like some Paul Casey, and I'm going to go right back to the well and Adam Scott. I truly think he's a form player too. Like you said, if they're starting to feel themselves, this game is all about form. And his last 2 rounds prior to the Wyndham, where he took second, he was number 1 in ball striking for the last 2 rounds of what was the tournament prior? Was that wasn't the Olympics, was it?
No, you're talking WGC?
Yes. The WGC, St. Jude. He was the first in ball striking in his last 2 rounds. So he brought that into the following week. So he's feeling himself right now. Adam Scott, I love him at 84. And he played here twice in 2 top 10 finishes in his last 2, 2013, 2019.
Hey, Danger. You ready to get tipsy?
Get tipsy.
I'm making a call right now. The winner of this tournament at 8,200 on DraftKings, Tony Finau, is going to come out and crush this field. He's going to make a statement in the FedEx, baby. He's going to come out here. He's going to have a 3-stroke lead after day 2 and never look back. It's my bold call of the week.
That's a very specific bold call, too. You want to hear one more bold call from me since Al threw his out there?
Yeah.
My FedEx Cup playoff prediction winner, if that's a sentence, is Daniel Berger.
Fair enough.
He's been super consistent all year. He's going to do it.
Guys, we're about a third of the way through here, or 2/3 of the way through here. So let's keep running down. We are in the 7K range. All right, look, we like a lot of guys in this 9K to 8K range. So we're going to have to get creative in the 7K to be able to keep those guys up top. I got a lot of people I like down here. I kind of Jason Kokrak, man. I mean, that has been my boy for a couple of years, and he's finally showing his colors here. I mean, his proximity, greens and regulation, putting. I mean, everything lines up for this course for Kokrak, and I like seeing him back down that pricing board at 7,700. It's going to be hard for me not to click him into my main lineup.
You and everybody else, I feel like.
So but that's okay. You can take some chalk if you differentiate elsewhere.
Absolutely. And that's why, I need to take a stand somewhere, and it's definitely Kokrak this week. He's number 2 at, 200 plus with his irons, which is one of our key stats this week. It's hard to look away from that. He's great off the tee. Honestly, he's having one of his best putting seasons of his entire career. But he missed the cut. He's had a win this year. I think Kokrak season is officially over, and I hope people buy into that chalk. And I'm gonna fade it this week.
All right, we got a little disagreement, Adam.
I have a wonderful pivot off of Kokrak if you would be interested.
Always.
He's at the exact same price. He has top 40s in his last 8 events, 3 of which were majors. So similar fields. The dude's gearing up for the Ryder Cup. He's trying to show off for the captain, Patty Harrington. That is Mr. Ian Poulter. It's Poulter season, man. Let's get it rolling. I think Poulter can, especially putt his way into contention this week. I want guys, if I'm looking down here, that have a chance to win. And I think if he's in contention, we at least know he's not scared. And he wears some super ugly, awesome, flashy pants.
Man, no Poulter for me. Straight out.
What's the model think about Poulter?
87th.
Okay, that's not good. But
my model is a little bit different, and he's at 41st.
Still not great.
All right. I like Al's model.
Yeah, a little bit different, 41st. And I can see that. And he played well here last time in 2019. So obviously he saw something in the course that he liked. I don't dislike that play. If I'm going in that range, it's gonna be Lowry for me. I think his irons are on point this season, more so than any other.
Lowry is 13th in the model that we built before the show.
Okay, great. Yeah, he's 14th in mine. He just needs to get that flat stick rolling. And like with the rough not really being an issue this week, if that's ever a thing, rough's always an issue. But if he can find his way off the tee, like to pretty much put himself 180 to 200 in, I think he's got the crisp irons to give himself a few chances. I like Lowry. Even Keegan Bradley's interesting this week in a weird way. Maybe like a first-round leader bet. Maybe not full DFS, but Keegan Bradley's the type to come out first round and just fire an 8 under, and everybody think he's gonna, pull it off, but he never does.
Yeah, and then finish like 25th. I also like. It's very rare that I like this guy, but I'm kind of liking the way that Billy Ho is trending. He hasn't played a ton since the Open Championship, just once, but he finished top 20 in another good field, not to this level, but he's also another guy that's not scared when he gets into contention. So I like Billy Ho. And then the guy that played really well last week, really to round out the 7K range, at least for me, is Brandon Grace. He was in that playoff, made a very, very clutch, just under 30-foot putt to make it in. And I don't know. Making a putt like that in that situation, knowing exactly what you had to do, that's not a very probable putt to go in. So that has to boost his confidence. And he's also been striking the ball really, really well. Seen a bit of a resurgence. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Brandon Grace, contends and finishes top 10 here this week.
I like it. In that same range, everybody always falls for the Grillo train. I've never been a Grillo fan. Either are you buying into that hype?
His ball striking numbers are always good. Danger,
He always kicks it in our model, dude. He's 24th in our model.
Yeah,
he's always top 25 in our model every week. Every week he's in there. He's always top 25.
There's like 3 guys that turn my stomach a little bit in the model that I've just seen year after year, week after week. It's like him, Luke List, Benny On, where you're like, these guys are all so bad at putting, and you just know they're going to make a big number at some point and just break your heart when it matters. Like with 2 holes left, you're like, all right, 2 pars and you make the cut, and then the doubles out in 17. You're like, okay, I'm just going to quit.
All right, we can't go any further without me mentioning Johnny Vegas. It's a birdie fest. Johnny Vegas, he's 36th in the model. He never really does great in the model because he's just so up and down in all of his stats. He's hard to predict. But any love for Johnny Vegas? I don't know. I just love him. I just love him so much. I have to talk about him if he's in the lineup.
Johnny Vegas of a few years ago and last year, I would say absolutely not. But something's clicking where he's actually putting together 4 good rounds. And he's doing it on a regular basis, which is not Vegas-like. So I think if I bought into him this week, I would be a couple weeks too late because I've just been like, no, he's going to blow it up when everybody's buying into it. He's going to blow up. And sure enough, he keeps proving me wrong. So if you go with it, make some money, but I'm staying away again this week.
You know what I love about Johnny Vegas, Adam, is that I'm looking at these stats here, and in this particular model, he's like 13th birdie or better and 80th bogey avoidance.
Right. So a couple of things, like he's you play him at Birdie Fest, but this is not necessarily a Birdie Fest. It's kind of in the same neighborhood as where the 3M finished and where the Wyndham finished. It's going to be around like 16 to 18 probably, unless there's some crazy weather. Patty Reed won at 16 under a couple of years ago. But he hasn't played in the type of field like this. Granted, he's only 7,100, but that's how I would expect him at like 65 or 66 normally. But he has been playing well. I just think it's going to drop off. And
all right, guys, we got to pick up the pace a little bit. We got about 3 minutes to go. So let's rattle off a few of these deep value names. Anybody else to round out the bottom of that 7K?
Go ahead, Al.
I'll go back to the well on Matthew Wolff. He burnt me last week, but he's the type that could find it on one random week. So I'm going to say Matthew Wolff.
Fair enough.
Outside of that, I'm good. I'm good in the low 7K range.
All right, let's dip down into the deep value, my friends, the 6K range. I'll let you guys go first, but 2 people are in the top 20 of my model in this mid 6K range. So Adam White, what you got here, my friends?
I love these guessing games.
2
Harold
people
Varner.
in my top 20. Can you pick them?
Harold Varner's the guy that kind of popped for me.
Close, but not quite. He's 30th. Close.
Okay, so I like Harry V. He played really well here a couple of years ago. Really had one of his best chances to win. So Harry V is the main guy that I had down, but I'm guessing maybe Joel Dahmen's in there.
No Joel Dahmen. Al White, who do you like down here? And any guesses on the 2 guys in the mid 6Ks that are top 20 in my model?
Somebody that always pops but always disappoints, probably Lucas Glover.
He is close, right there with Harold Varner. Not quite there. But do you like Lucas Glover?
If I'm putting in 100 lineups, yes, I like Lucas Glover.
Sure.
If I'm putting in 5, absolutely not touching Lucas Glover.
Fair enough. All right, who do you like in the deep dive?
CT Pan.
Okay, I've seen him flash a few times.
Surprisingly,
a flash in the pan.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. I don't even know what to say after that. So CT Pan, yep. There you go. He plays well at Valspar, took bronze at the Olympics. Just got a few things going for him. Don't mind him. Matt Wallace seems to pop randomly, and I could see him actually putting together a decent FedEx Cup playoffs. And then low range, I'm going to say Hank the Tank Lebioda. He's just, 3 top 10s of his last 5 tournaments with withdrawal, miscut, but his best putting surface is bent grass, and that's where he does his damage. If he gains over 5 strokes on the greens, he's going to place top 20, and at 6,300, that pays dividends.
I'm always into Hank the Tank, aren't I, Adam? All right, Adam, who's your favorite deep dive value play? Hit me.
If you want to go a real deep dive, we can do that in a second. Was it Aaron Wise in the model?
Nope.
Damn.
Brendan,
give me your favorite.
Brendan Todd?
Come on now.
No, my guy. Honestly, the way I'm constructing the lineups, a lot of guys in the 7K. Harold Varner down here. If you want a real deep dive guy like Stone Minimum, who I think is likely to make the cut, strokes gained approach numbers have been fantastic for a couple months now. It's Sam Ryder, 6K even.
Nice. A bottom feeder number. All right, guys. Well, we got to get out of here. Let me give you my 2 guys in the top 20 of the model we built pre-show here. Number 5 in my model in proximity, 200 plus. Number 5 in my model in the par 4, 450 to 500 yards. And okay in all the rest of the models. Number 18 in the model at 6,400. Cesreve.
The chesticle.
I can see it. I bet the other one is Kyle Stanley, isn't it?
Nope. A guy that Adam tends to like. Number 3 in putting in the field in the model that we built. Obviously the models you put emphasis on different things, so they can be different in different ways. Yeah. Top 10 in par 4, 450 to 500, and pretty darn good and around the green at 6,700. Pat Perez, number 15 in the model. So 2 top 20 guys in this model, which has been pretty good the last few weeks at 6,700 and 6,400. All right, guys. Well, it's time to get out of here. So I really appreciate you two joining me. Make sure everybody goes to drroto.com. We have got Al White's article. We have got Matt Rumack's article. We have got Adam White's article. We've got articles left and right. We gave you guys Kisner, Streelman, Sloan, Kirk, Simpson. I mean, you name it. We nailed her. Oh, Duffner. All kinds of great scoring guys last week. So make sure you head over to drroto.com. Check out the rest of the PGA articles. Also, brand new, the MLB DFS Optimizer. Make sure you get over there, check that out. And of course, paying members get access to the members-only Discord where they can ask questions directly to the staff members at drroto.com. I am Jonny Danger for Adam White, for Al White. This has been In the Cup at drroto.com.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking